Hi, today I'm looking at Stop Crying Your Heart Out by Oasis. What I'm doing with this one is going through the basic chord sequence for the song, and I'm not necessarily getting too in depth with the shapes that Noel Gallagher played. I mean, I will do a little bit. I've worked out what they are, but for example, at the beginning it's just piano. Well, if you're playing the song on your own, you really want to be playing the whole song, so the sections where there's only piano, we're still going to be playing, so I'll just show you what the actual chords are for the whole song. Okay, the intro is just piano, this part. It's a B minor chord and it's just 4 bars. So there's 2 ways you could strum this. Oh, by the way, the B minor, you hopefully know, it's a bar chord. 2nd fret bar over 5 strings, and then an A minor shape here. So in terms of frets, we've got nothing on this string, and then we've got 2, 4, 4, 3, 2. In terms of the rhythm though, you could just play the beats like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And that would work for the whole song. Or if you want something a bit more interesting, you could play 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so it's just a slightly quicker movement with this arm than the first thing I did. Now, if you do that more complicated one, you still need to accent those main beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the basic strum pattern for the song. And it's just 4 bars of B minor for the intro, so I'll just play that. That's the intro. Right, so the verse starts on that B minor again, 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we get a chord called B minor 7 over A. And the way to do this is to take the little finger away, which makes it B minor 7. And then we want the A bass note. So you just lower your first finger so it's no longer barring on the 5th string. So it can be on the first, it needs to be on the first 3, but it could be on the 4th as well, that's fine. And now we've got open 4, 2, 3, 2. It's a nice chord. 2 bars of that one. 2 bars of E7 played like this. It's the one that sounds most like the song, I think. So it's a standard E chord, and you add the little finger onto the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So we've got open 2, 2, 1, 3, open. 2 bars. Then G for 2 bars, and it's the 4-finger G that you're probably familiar with. So it's 3, 2, open, open, 3, 3. So 2 bars on each of those, I'll just play that. Okay, then that repeats, and the second time the piano does this really nice chord at the end. Don't think the guitar's doing it. I think the guitar is probably just staying on the G for 2 bars. But if you want to get the sound of the song, on the very last bar, instead of 2 bars of G, we have 1 bar of G, and then change to this, which is kind of a G11 really. Move your first finger down so it's covering the 2nd fret on the 3rd string and the 2nd string, like that. So it's a bit of a weird chord. Now, on its own, it sounds really weird, but that is right. And what you can do to get to that is either what I suggested, take that one away and move the first finger down. Oh, by the way, this second finger is now touching the 5th string to mute it. It's difficult not to do that, so that's usually fine. But you could do that, or you could change your fingers around like this, keep the little finger where it is, take those away, put that one there, and then put those down like that. And now the 3rd finger is the one muting the A string. Same chord. So a bar of G and a bar of that weird one. Or played the other way. On its own just sounds so strange, that chord, but I think it's really nice in the song. It's a little kind of genius change, really. It's just very clever to think of doing that. Makes it a bit more interesting than if it was just G. So I'm just going to strum through the whole verse for you. Okay, then we get to the chorus. Now the chorus is a bar of D, standard D, a bar of A sus4, which is where you keep this finger where it is, move those two up like that. So it's like an A chord with the 3rd finger moved out. So it's nothing on the E string, and then open, 2, 2, 3, open. E minor 7, which is just move these 2 fingers across like that and play all of the strings. G, which we did earlier in the verse. There's a passing chord that's sometimes hinted at, and sometimes you can really hear it being played in between the E minor 7 and the G. It's a D over F sharp, which is a D chord with the thumb over the top there on that note, and you can play the whole lot. It's very quick, that chord, and it is a passing chord. You could miss it out if you wanted, but I think it sounds quite good to put it in. I'll just play the E minor 7 to the G with the passing chord. And when you listen to the song, you can really hear where that fits in, I think. But I don't know if they play it every time, but it's one you can put in when you feel like it, I think. So that was D, A sus4, E minor 7 with the passing chord if you like, and then G. And then back to D again. These are all one bar apart from the passing chord. D, E7, that's the same shape we played earlier. G, still for a bar. That odd chord that we did, which was a variation on the G kind of a G11, that's for half a bar, and then G for half a bar. So I'm just going to play all of that. That's the chorus. Okay, and then we have a repeat of the second half of the verse, and then just the second half, and then a repeat of the chorus. And the only difference with this chorus is right at the end, instead of having half a bar of that G11 and then half a bar of normal G, it's just a whole bar of G11. Okay, so I'm just going to play that. I'm going to play the second half of the verse followed by this chorus, which has got the slight variation at the end. Then the solo, it's an instrumental section. It's not really a proper guitar solo. It's really nice, but it's not what you call a solo really, but it's an instrumental section. It's just a chorus played instrumentally. So it's the same chords as the chorus, with the full bar of the G11 at the end. So it's the same as the second chorus that we played. And then over the top of that, he does this little lead part on, this is an electric part. Really simple, but just works brilliantly. All you do is hold down these two notes, which is 7th fret on the 2nd and 3rd strings. And bear in mind these chords underneath are the chorus chords that are changing. It's just the chorus. And he stays on the same little riff over all of the chords. And that's what makes it work so well. And what it does is keep those two there and plays 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, like this. Over and over again, like this. And try that along with the song. It works over all of the choruses. I think it could even be there in the background on some of the choruses as well, certainly after this section. But that goes over the top of those chords. Over all of that chord sequence, it's doing that. Really nice little part. Okay, the last chorus is an extended one, so it goes into like the end section. So I'll deal with the end section separately. So this is the last chorus, very similar to what we've been doing for the previous choruses, but not quite the same. So it starts off bar of D like before. A sus4, E minor 7 with the passing chord if you want it to go to the G, and that G chord is for a bar like before, but just faintly on this first time you can hear them change to the G11. Someone, maybe the piano or something, is changing to that, so that would be this. It's quite subtle, and it doesn't sound subtle enough when I do it on my guitar like this, so I maybe would leave that for the first sequence. Anyway, I think it's in there. And then you repeat that sequence, D, A sus4, E minor 7 with the passing chord to the G, but without the G11. So that's different to the previous choruses where we went to the E7 and the end of the chorus. So I'm just going to play up to that point. But what happens before I do is you then repeat all of that. So you do that whole thing I've just said twice. The easiest way to see that is for me to just play it. So this is the last chorus before the end section. So out of the last chorus, we've just played E minor 7 with the passing chord to the G. And this end section is just that again, 7 more times. So a total of 8, including the one that was at the end of the chorus. But there's a little catch to it. From the third of the extra ones onwards, so you've played one at the end of the chorus and then you've got 7 more. So there's 2 the same, and then from this third one to the 7th one, you're playing the G11 if you want. I mean, it's quite subtle again, but there's a G11 as the second half of the G bar each time, except on the very last one. Bit confusing, but I'll just play it in a second, you'll see. And the very last one, you just hit the G once and let it ring, so there's no opportunity to change chord because you're just letting the chord ring for a bar. So I'm just going to play the 7 extra ones that are on the end after that chorus. And that last chord, that G, rings for a bit. It's probably more than a bar, it's probably a couple of bars, it's possibly even out of time. And then there's a little sort of gentle kind of acoustic thing that comes in the background with like an electric part over the top. And the acoustic is just sort of picking out individual strings a little bit. It's a bit vague, but something like this. So that was a D, and then D sus2 where you take that second finger away. So you hear this tune. Playing very lightly, so it's kind of like halfway between a strum and picking. I'll just run through all the chords, I'll demonstrate it. So D to the D sus2, A sus4, E minor 7, G. He does that twice, something like this. Very end, just a very faint D chord. So the kind of melody that's being picked out there on the D chord, it's the so it's, on the A sus4, you've got the melody's there without moving this hand. So it's same on the E minor 7. And the G the same. So I'll just demonstrate that by playing just the melody part without the extra sort of fill-in notes. So those are notes that need to stand out. So I'll demonstrate it again with those, but with some extra notes just to fill in the gaps. And that's the whole song. So as always, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments, and other song suggestions, then please feel free to. And click the like if you like this one, and please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Okay, thanks.